You can do a lot of things in life. You can do even more if you have friends. This is a story about my friend Randy and all he's helped me with. It should be mentioned that neither one of us have brand new stuff. Both of us just like a little bit of adventure and willing to help each other out. So we loaded our gear up, loaded our sleds, way overloaded the trailer, that'll come in later, and then took off. It should be mentioned that there's two really bad times of the year to start freighting gear over the river. First thing in the season, and then the last part of the season. So why wouldn't we try it in springtime? A lot of open water to be had. He didn't flinch, not even a bit. So with a couple of 90s vintage machines, dry pair of socks, we took off.
Okay, it's like 12:30. It's the earliest I've ever been at the boat launch. We'll take you on a little tour here. We got my sled. I got some logs on my polydrum sled, and then the mighty 5 hundo is towing the big logs. It's a little tail heavy, but you know what? We'll get it figured out. Stopping for a quick snacky poo, maybe a shot of Java, and then we'll head a nice, smooth, easy 20-something miles up the river. May have to adjust a few things. I don't know what, but we'll get it figured out. All in all, beautiful day out, mid-20s. Brown dog is very happy, and so we're going to run him in the ground. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the river. Pretty great day. We'll see you on the river. You'll get him. You'll get him. Jesus.
When you first get to the cabin, then you gotta open the tent up and get the fire going, then let your loved ones know you've got there safe and off the river okay. Start the processes for dinner that night, and then just kind of take a general lay of the land and see what the game plan brings tomorrow. We installed a set of motion lights near the outhouse and on the trail going to it to make the evening trips to the outhouse or the loo a little more enjoyable for the ladies. Worked out pretty good. Haven't had an issue with it yet. I think we're 2 years on a set of batteries.
One whole thing. The commentary.
Please. Please.
I don't think so.
Okay. Good morning, good morning. We had to leave the log load here yesterday because we were breaking trail. And it was just too heavy for the soft snow. So we left it here for the night. Let the trail set up. This is heading downriver right here. And then here comes the big wide track to see if we can pull it home. We're gonna try a tandem thing. We'll hook 2 sleds together, and that doesn't work, then we start unloading everything and haul them up in smaller loads. Hope this works.
No.
And just like that, every one of them made it home. This is a good day.
It's always impressive to see the work a beaver can do in the fall time when they're getting ready for winter. This thing was about 8 to 10 inches around and fell exactly where he wanted it to. With an uneventful trip under our belt, we were feeling pretty cocky. Trip 2 didn't go very well. That darn trailer snapped its tongue right in the middle of the road about 40 miles out of town. Not sure what to do, we put our heads together and MacGyvered a brand new trailer tongue out of the logs we were hauling up. Went off in the woods, sawed a few things up, strapped everything tight, reloaded it, and then made it home. Took it over to Randy's shop. He was more than willing and unbelievably overqualified to perform any repairs. It was enjoyable to have him help me on this project and really enjoyable to watch him work on this. I think the reason I took so many pictures on this trip was because we just weren't sure if this was going to work, if it was going to fall off the trailer or trailer fall into the abyss and go over the edge with all our gear on it. So it was an impressive piece of engineering, if I do say so myself.
Hey, and as my promise to do good with the bad, here is some of the bad of going to Manly. We had to build a tongue out of house logs because it broke. And I mean, it broke. Like that on both sides. So we got home, pretty ingenious program. It felt a little bit like the Clampets, but made it home safe and sound. So that's the name of the game.
We spent the better part of an afternoon grinding, cleaning, cutting, preparing, so we could get some welds on this. We found a few more cracks. It was nice to get those taken care of. We eventually settled on having everything trued back up, come along to everything into play, used some winches on the other portion, and proceeded to set a few beads, and then built a couple doubler plates on it. With all the work being done and both of us satisfied with how it turned out, it was time to chain this truck up and head home. Roads were pretty icy, nice, good, long, steep, heavy path to get out, so we chained it up all the way around and she crawled on out of there. With one good trip under our belt, one horrible attempt, but we made it home safe under our belt, we overloaded it again and took back off. This was going to be the last trip of the season, so we could get everything into the cabin and hopefully continue working on it.
So we're at an open part of the river. Randy's gonna back up and give it a go. We're not sure. Yeah, it's a little wet. But it ain't wet like that.
I'll bet you a buffalo nickel when the fellow went over that open water, he had to pull over and clean his shorts out. Luckily enough, my main man Randy was smart enough to go around with everything. Took a couple trips to get everything across, but we made it safely. And dry feet. At one point, the logs were just too long, so I had to tie the back of the logs to the front of my machine so we could keep them on the trail. And then when we got up off the river, I could help steer the long ends around some of the tight corners. Worked out pretty good. And when we started hitting some overflow, I would run up on the back of the logs and give everything a push so we didn't get stuck.
Let me just give you a little breakdown of what's been going on. We have fought every mile to get here. We have been here at our place for about 2 hours trying to get everything set. Dumped the logs, repacked them. I'll explain more later. Here comes Randy. Oh yeah, he's going up. And the logs are home, hallelujah. Oh, I'm so happy.
I'd love to say that was the last trip of logs we had to make in, but we had to go back out and get more. Now, I don't remember if we left them on the side of the river or had to go all the way back to the truck, but either way, it meant another 25 miles there and another 25 miles back to bring in the last load of logs before the river went out. And my machine turned 4,000 miles on that one. Kind of a cool milestone for an old machine. It's a peaceful feeling when the trail runs over sandbars, because that means that you're not going over bad ice. But the downside of it, there's never enough snow to cool your machine, and we overheated a lot. And because our machines were made in the 90s, things break. It's not that big of a deal that it breaks. What is the big deal is how you deal with it and how you fix it, and if or not you can get back home again. So just a reminder, we had to cross a lot of open water, we had to cross a lot of overflow, so walking home was not an option. We had to get these machines out or we couldn't go back.
Good afternoon. Report from the property. We had a pretty nice day. It's 1:30 right now, and the last thing we have to do is bring 4 more logs up from the bottom of the river. We got stuck in overflow twice, but other than our hands being wet and cold, you know, we're pretty good. I lost a bolt on the snow machine, but we'll do some kind of fix to get it home. And then we're truly pretty close to cocktail hour. So really thankful. A lot of traffic on the river going out right now. Randy's getting ready to bring the last little bit up. So when that happens, we'll get that on video. See if we can get commentary from the peanut gallery. And they're home. These are all the logs needed to finish the cabin.
I remember it was very comforting having all those logs up there so I can continue working that spring as soon as the rivers opened up. Can't do it without friends. Can't do it without good friends. I'll take either one anytime. Well, next order of business was to take a log spike, stick it in where I lost the bolt, tie everything together, and wire tie it up. Like I said, it's not that things break, it's how you deal with it. And with the exception of the machine being a little wider, we made her home just fine. Well, there you have it. Story about pals. Thanks, Randy. We'll see you on the river.